presentation is to teach fundamental skills necessary for riding a motorcycle for the first time. Along with this information, I will include tips and best practices concerning proper protective equipment or PPE. I will then speak about various controls each and every motorcycle has and their use, after which I will show a video showcasing why throttle control is so important. To finish up the presentation, I will show some statistics and point out important information to get the viewer to understand that while riding a motorcycle is dangerous, it isn't as dangerous as most people think, if safety precautions are observed and are practiced each and every ride. 10 years ago, it used to be considered geeky, nerdy, or weak to wear even just a helmet while riding. Times have most definitely changed, and while you will still see young people riding down the roads in shorts and flip-flops, and conversely, you will see older generation riding in jeans and a tank top with leather vest. A vast majority have taken to being safe and alive instead of looking cool. Later, I will show some statistics that show that in most cases, wearing simple protective gear can greatly lower your chances of death and even injury. The single most important piece of gear anybody should wear while on a motorcycle is a helmet. The most injuries that occur during an accident are head-related. While there are several different types of helmets, really two are the most recommended, which are the full face and the modular helmets, both of which you can see here in this picture. There are also open face and half helmets, but they only protect your head from collisions and do not protect you from face and jaw injuries. The next most common injuries sustained in an accident are to the hands and elbows, so gloves and a jacket that is either leather or skid resistant with built-in armor padding are greatly recommended. A 60-mile-per-hour asphalt can wear your skin down to bone or even grind your bone down. I know it is really graphic to think about, but something as simple as leather between you and the road can mean the difference between walking away with simple bruises and a long stay in the hospital, getting skin graft surgery, and taking skin from other places to try and regrow the skin on your elbows and hands. Road rash is the equivalent to holding your body in the fire until the skin is burnt off. It is said to be the most painful injury you can sustain, as well as the longest to recover from, which will leave permanent scars. Finally, good skid-resistant pants and boots that offer ankle support and are armored are also recommended. Using all the gear mentioned here, while it may be hot and uncomfortable, I have seen people skid 100 yards and hit a wall going 60 miles an hour and walk away with little to no injuries. The same accident can and has killed people. The controls for the motorcycle and their use are as follows. Starting at the handlebars, you have the clutch, which is used to add or remove power to the transmission for changing gears and stopping. The handbrake is used as the front brake, which will be used in conjunction with the foot brake. High and low beams are located on the left thumb. The turn signal switch, which you slide left or right, and then you push to cancel. Horn is located beneath the turn signal. The throttle is located on your right grip. You rotate your hand down to apply power and up to remove power. The key switch is located either on the handlebars below or above the instrument cluster, or it is on the side near the motor. It is used just to put power to the engine and the instrument cluster, not to turn your engine on. The ignition switch is a button located near your right thumb. The engine cutoff switch is located right above the ignition. It is advised to use this to turn the bike off, not the key, to avoid taking your hand off the brake while turning it off, which can cause you to slip and drop your bike. The instrument cluster, most bikes have a speedometer, RPM, gas gauge, mileage, and some have warning light clusters. It is model specific. The fuel shutoff switch is located above the engine near the knee, either left or right side of the motor, which is also brand specific. The gear shift lever. The gears are not like a car. They are sequential. You click down to first, and then a half a click up is in neutral. After that, each full click up is in another gear. Most bikes have 5 or 6 gears, which is model or brand specific. When slowing down, you want to click down the gears so as to keep power to the transmission. You want to rev the engine to match RPMs with the desired gear. This technique is called rev matching and is used to avoid skidding out of control due to locking the tire up. The rear brake is the pedal on the right side. This is used alongside the right hand grip to apply force on both tires to prevent a skid, which happens when only braking with one brake. Next, I would like to show this video that showcases what happens when time isn't taken to learn proper throttle control. This is what happens when proper throttle control is not used. It is advisable to practice putting the bike into first gear and slowly releasing the clutch without touching the throttle to understand when the transmission engages. All bikes will lift up and slowly roll if done properly. After good understanding of where the clutch engages, the next step is to practice turning at slow speeds, shifting up and down from first gear, getting used to the idea of revving the throttle to shift down and pulling the clutch to shift gears. When 20 mile per hour is reached, steering changes to counter steering. This process is too complicated to explain in this presentation, but all that needs to be understood is that after 20 miles per hour, you want to push lightly to the side you want the bike to lean, and the bike will turn that direction. A quick search on YouTube for counter steering will show you everything you need to know about this technique. The key information to be understood in the next few slides are the reasons why accidents happen, the most likely situation in which they occur. It is almost half and half between single vehicle accidents and other driver at fault, and most accidents involving a motorcycle are due to 3 different factors. Number 1, inexperienced rider. Most of these types of accidents occur at corners, intersections, or in emergency maneuvers trying to avoid other vehicles. Speed is the most common factor in most of these accidents. Other drivers. Most automobile drivers are conditioned to seeing a larger vehicle and expect to see that. Motorcyclists are nearly invisible to cars. The majority of these accidents occur in lane changes, turn-offs, both from and onto roads at intersections. Most times the car driver says they never saw the biker. The second important point is in that in over 3/4 of the time, the motorcyclist was speeding. Number 3, rider fault. Most accidents that occur from rider being at fault is because of speed and no knowledge of the surrounding area. Simply slowing down would have prevented most of the accidents in this category. A motorcyclist is almost 37 times more likely to die in an accident than a car, and 9 times more likely to get injured, according to the U.S. Department of Transportation. The factors that caused the accidents were speed, inexperience, lack of proper protective gear, and alcohol. Out of all motorcycle deaths, almost 26% involved alcohol, and over 3/4 involved speed. Motorcycles can be a fun and rewarding hobby if done with caution and appropriate safety steps are taken. Important information can be found at your local Department of Motor Vehicles, DMV. It is recommended to take a Motorcycle Safety Foundations course before obtaining your license. Motorcycle Foundation safety courses typically cost around $400 and is 16 hours long with half classroom instruction. The other halves are hands-on skill building. Taken this way, after completion of the written test, you will have your permit, which is good for 2 years. A skills test is taken right after. If satisfactorily completed, a provisional license will be issued that will mature after 1 year to a full license. It is mandatory in the state of Maine that a helmet be worn the first year of being licensed and no passengers the first 90 days. After the year, there are no laws concerning helmets or proper protective equipment. It is very recommended to have at least a helmet because, as shown in the previous slides, that most accident deaths occur from head injuries that could have been prevented by wearing a helmet. Most states offer a motorcyclist safety manual that can be obtained for free from any DMV headquarters. These contain state-specific rules and regulations. Maine does not require helmets, but other states do. It is the responsibility of the rider to make sure they are complying with the law at all times. Although motorcycles can be dangerous, understanding the risk and how to protect yourself from them can make it a rewarding and safe hobby. Thank you for viewing this presentation, and hopefully this has given you the information you need for the safe operation of a motorcycle as a new rider.